Thank you, Professor Rojo, ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends of the ESMT. On behalf of the Foundation Board of Trustees, I'm delighted to welcome you to our 2021 Annual Forum. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to all our panelists. Many distinguished business executives and scientists have joined us today. They are proof that the ESMT and its annual forum are more relevant than ever. Today's event is all about designing the future and how technological transformation influences our everyday life. One example in many households is the Amazon Alexa. Did you know that the number of babies named Alexa has decreased by 70% since 2015? And I guess we all know the reason. Alexa, turn the light on. Alexa, tell me a joke. Alexa, find my iPhone. Everyone asks Alexa anything. Life changed not only for women named Alexa, but for every one of us. Technological change has massively accelerated, and that's why it is important to talk about it. The transformation is most visible in two areas: digitalization and decarbonization. On a global scale, these are our major challenges for years to come. The pandemic, which is another big but rather short-term challenge, accelerated the transformation. In the face of such a major change, the ambition of one of Europe's leading business schools and us as leading companies must be to design this change from the pole position. To do so, three factors are crucial: innovation, cooperation, and the right mindset. First, innovation is the most important key to solve big challenges of COVID-19, but longer term, decarbonization and digitalization. It is amazing how fast the world's smartest scientists developed vaccines against the virus, how fast we found digital alternatives to mostly everything. I'm convinced that science and innovation will defeat this pandemic. It's clear that behind every good idea are intelligent people. And as chairman of the Board of Trustees, I know ESMT is a place full of bright minds capable of generating many great ideas. The reason is simple: the ESMT has always had the pulse of the times. The establishment of the Sustainable Business Transformation Initiative Jörg Rocholl just mentioned is the best proof that this tradition will continue. No matter if we're talking about science or economy, innovation thrives best when people are given freedom and accountability. That's something we see here at ESMT. And that's been a major goal of the cultural change we initiated at our company, Daimler. Innovation is in our DNA. Our founding fathers were pioneers. They were not looking at how they could simply improve the status quo. Instead, they were thinking, how do we completely change it? The way they changed the world with the invention of the car. That pioneering spirit is very much in us today. Thousands of our engineers are constantly working on what comes next. What's the next frontier? How can we make the impossible possible? That was how they came up with the brand new EQS, a state-of-the-art car combining digitalization and sustainability in a unique way. That's not only my opinion, it's what media analysts and also investors say. Making business sustainable isn't just something for Daimler or the auto industry. It is the decisive task for mankind. And I'm looking forward to the discussion about this and many other important topics with Carsten Spohr, Martin Brudermüller, and Tim Höttges later on. We believe the most efficient way to master the massive change is not to ban the status quo, but instead to enable and advance what's new. That means being open to all kinds of new technologies. Let's take drivetrain technologies as an example. For cars, electricity stored in a battery seems to be the most promising technology right now. The transportation sector is also betting on hydrogen for carrying heavy loads over long distances in trucks. And for the aircraft industry, maybe synthetic fuels might be a good solution to tackle CO2 reduction. I'm sure Carsten can elaborate on that during our panel later on. Innovation always needs funding. The OECD found that last year, most companies' R&D investments still grew faster or fell less than their revenues, even though business was influenced by COVID-19. This shows that there's an increase in R&D intensity across all industries. That's a reason for confidence. Brings me to my second point on what it needs to master the challenges, and that is cooperation. The world has probably never acted in such a unison as in the fight against COVID-19. The fast development of vaccines, its massive production ramp up, and its comprehensive distribution are a result of many people from all over the world working hand in hand. As a business school based in Berlin, ESMT is located at the interface between business, science, and politics. This interdisciplinary cooperative spirit characterizes you as ESMT students and makes you valuable to employers. And I'm sure this spirit will also be a characteristic feature of the new Sustainable Business Transformation Initiative. Germany's leading industrial companies and ESMT share the ambition of playing a leading role in creating a sustainable future. This is the right initiative at the right time, because the fight against climate change will only be won when we work together. That is why systematic collaboration beyond the supposed interest groups is so important, as well as the platforms that enable it. Let me give you a few examples from the auto industry, which show why cooperating is so crucial. An electric car is only as green as the energy that charges it. That's why our industry's push towards carbon neutral vehicles needs to go hand in hand with a carbon neutral energy mix. And that's why we join forces with energy suppliers. The same applies for digitalization. Daimler, for example, is increasingly becoming software driven. But still, we need partners to accelerate development and to provide excellent technology. Tim Höttges Deutsche Telekom is one of them. Another example is last year's leadership program, one of the biggest cultural initiatives at Daimler ever. It was a very successful one too. One key was the interdisciplinary team which planned, designed, and run it. Guess who was the partner? Right, the ESMT. That brings me to the third factor to master the transformation toward more sustainability and digitalization, the right mindset. To succeed in this process and to benefit from the opportunities ahead, we need optimistic, courageous, and visionary people. You can call it the can-do spirit. The spirit and courage to fight for your ideas, to constantly rethink yourself, your strategy, and your business model, and stand up to doubters. This mindset is essential for overcoming the pandemic, for winning the fight against climate change, and for taking digitalization to the next level. You can't learn that in any textbook. It is an attitude I trust is prevalent here among ESMT students. And when such an attitude is combined with excellent education, the outcome is the top standing ESMT has in global rankings. At Daimler, we have a similar spirit. It is an inner unrest for what's next. It is what has pushed our company for the last 135 years. And it's a big driver for me personally as well. The transformation is a major challenge, but primarily, it's a great opportunity to make our economy, society, and our entire planet a better place. Innovation, cooperation, and the right mindset are the most important drivers to successfully master this process. ESMT and its partners have internalized this. We share the belief not to wait for change to happen. We're leading and shaping it. That's how, for example, Mercedes became an iconic brand. And that's why ESMT is one of Europe's best business schools. Today's agenda will give us even more inspiration and insights on how to successfully design the future. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
inspiring, very encouraging words on Daimler, on ESMT, but much beyond. And I would like to use the opportunity to maybe add two questions or two or three questions on it. Obviously, I wouldn't like to compromise anything that will follow in the exciting program, in particular in the CEO talk. But when you think of the three dimensions you mentioned, innovation, cooperation, the right mindset, what could Europe overall take out of this? What could Europe take here to foster innovation, cooperation on a broader scale?
Europe has such a unique mix of talent, history, and industry that what I think we need to do is to keep actually the entrepreneurial spirit that's hundreds of years of tradition in Europe, and not get too much bogged down just thinking about what's the next regulation, but think about more what's the next innovation, and make sure that Europe, in terms of where you want to invest, where you want to set up a business, where you want to develop technology, it remains one of the most attractive places in the world to do that. So more innovation, more can-do, and not just a full focus on regulation and what we should not do.
So at the same time, and you addressed already ESMT students, you also addressed ESMT alumni. They obviously are also looking at you to get guidance, to get advice on where they would like to go, where they should go. What would you expect in terms of their mindset not only now during their studies, but also beyond, to become future leaders and follow the example and also the perspectives you just shared?
As I mentioned in my short speech, a lot of the transformation that we're going through is the result of change in technology. In our industry, it's the gradual switch from combustion-based technology to electrification. So if I look at ESMT, and I think it's in the name, management and technology, there is never one dimension. It's either you're on the business side or you're on the technology side. You always have to combine both of these and try to see what innovation potential is there in the new technologies and turn that into a business. So my ask for the people at the ESMT, the students at the ESMT, as to come into industry and join our company is keep an open mind and have both those dimensions in mind when you make decisions.
This I think is a very encouraging part, and it's in particular encouraging also to see it from the first perspective that you mentioned regarding Europe. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for these opening remarks, which will bring us, I think, to a very exciting afternoon ahead of us, also to be further discussed in our different panel discussions that will be ahead of us. Let me take this opportunity then to hand over to my colleague Angeliki Papakroni. Angeliki is a lecturer at ESMT, and she's the moderator for our first panel here today. And the first panel, as we mentioned before, will put a broad view on the post-pandemic workplace, and it will have a very inside view by top leaders on how this post-pandemic workplace may look like. With this, Angeliki, please.